I must be a glutton for punishment, or maybe it's more of a morbid fascination for these Chinese knockoffs. But today we're going to be looking at the HC Toys, aka Legend Creations, 1/6 scale Hellboy figure from Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, also known as the Chinese KO of the Hot Toys Hellboy figure. Okay, first off the bat we can see it comes with a very basic shipper. The person on eBay who sold it to me was actually pretty good with their packaging. The shipper is sturdy. They also use little plastic edges for the box to keep it protected. And it came to me all in one piece. No damage, no dents, no scratches. Not that it really matters because the box is pretty much naff, but still. It's nice to see them take care when they're sending this stuff, especially as so much of these Chinese KOs end up getting stuffed into styrofoam packs and then just shipped off, and by the time they arrive at your door, everybody's stamped on it. There's dents and bashes everywhere and you can barely even recognize the figure. So it's good to see that somebody's actually taken the care to look after it. But anyway, it's just a simple brown box. And then we can open it up. We can see there's the top of the box. It even comes with a plastic wrap on there. We're just going to pull this out. It's in there tight, that's for sure. Throw that down the side. And there's it out of the packaging. Pull the plastic down. Get this gone as well. Goodbye. Voila. And there's the box. And I think this is pretty much a knockoff of the Hot Toys box. I'm pretty sure it is. But if we look at the box, we can see it's got Hellboy on the front, Hellboy the Golden Army. It's even got Legend Creation logo there instead of Hot Toys, which is okay, I guess. And that's the side there. A little bit of blurb down the bottom with the logo. Then we come to the back. The printing's pretty nice on this thing. It's not amazing. It is a little bit of a bleed off on the reds and stuff like that, and it's slightly faded. But it's not the worst box I've ever seen a knockoff come in, that's for sure. And then we get another side like that, and that's the top. There's the bottom. Okay, let's pull this slip sleeve off. You can see the slip sleeve comes off. Sorry. Come on, get out of here. Down you go. And there we go. We've got a nice picture of the Hot Toys Hellboy just there. This is not the figure you get, I assure you. And it's got a window here, and it's velcroed shut, and you can open it up. And you can see the figure inside, and then you got a little flap here for that, and that's pretty good. Around the back here you have a picture of the Hot Toys Hellboy with the Hot Toys Sapien. Again, this is just a reprint of the original box, and it's got all the Hot Toys cast there, Hot Toys Limited. Like I said in my last video about the Ghost Rider, I'm really conflicted because it's nice that they give them credit for doing all the work, because technically Hot Toys did do all the work, but it's still not probably something they would proudly put their names to. So it is really cheeky, I think. Okay, so let's just open it up and see what we get inside. Oh, and just as a quick one, this plastic clamshell is really flimsy, as you would expect for a Legend Creations figure. Okay, so this is him straight out of the packaging. I've pulled everything out. I've managed to get him into a sort of standing position. Haven't done much posing on him yet because I'm a little uncertain about the body. I'm going to have to take that coat off and have a look at everything. I'm not sure which way the joints are. I did get that Ghost Rider figure. The way they put it in the box, his arms were twisted around the wrong way and stuff like that, so I didn't want to bend this guy up too much and start messing with him and end up damaging him. So I just quickly got him out of the box, laid out all the accessories, and I have to say I paid £60 total for this, and I'm actually quite surprised with what you get. Okay, accessory wise he comes with Big Baby, which is actually quite impressive for a complete KO figure. It has moving parts, it's still got the transfers on the side here. Something just fell off. That's right, it was just the pleather strap. Pleather strap just fell off the gun, but that can actually fit back on quite easily. See if this works without it breaking. Yep, works fine. Fits on perfectly. It's got a moving part there. This opens up. The dry brushing and weathering isn't as prominent, and the detail isn't as good as, say, the Artois version. But I don't know. I don't think it's the worst accessory I've ever seen on a KO like this. And detail-wise, it's a lot better than what would be expected. If we pull this open, we can see he comes with these shells, and they all have the baby bottle print on them because baby wants its bottle. And then we load this in. And it kind of stops there. It doesn't go all the way in, and I'm afraid to push it all the way in simply because I don't think you'll be able to get them out once they're in there. And in fact, let's just get the Artois version here. I'll put it to the side just in case I wanted to show it off. And this is the Artois version. Again, it's a third-party figure, but they both look pretty good. I mean, the transfer on the Artois is obviously cleaner and better, whereas this is a bit more sloppy and it's got more of a derp face on it. And this Artois version actually has the gun name model number on the side and everything, whereas this one doesn't. And he also comes with the Samaritan, and this is really cool because it opens up and turns. And we can see there's not a lot of dry brushing in it. A bit of gunmetal dry brushing would do this the world of good. But the handle's quite clean, and it also comes with that sort of twisted hanging strap off the bottom. Quite impressed with that, if I'm honest. It also comes with an extra relaxed stone hand. You can see paint-wise, it's actually not that bad. There's a bit of a black wash in there, detail-wise. I've definitely seen worse. Pretty good. At Legend Creations, they did the hands on the Ghost Rider not too bad either. He also comes with a gun holding hand. The fingernails are a bit sloppy, but there's a nice wash throughout it. And he also comes with this sort of gripping hand that can hold what is the weirdest accessory, but, you know, not unwelcome, which is, I think it's the King Arthur's sword. This is more from the comic books. You can see it's all gold painted and it's got a black wash through it. And obviously there's some flash in here, so it looks a bit dirty, but it's not too bad. And he also comes with this stand. And actually, this isn't the worst stand I've seen either. It's got Hellboy 2 the Golden Army on it, which is quite nice and simple, understated with Hellboy written on the front. I'm wondering if they managed to get the Abe Sapien done, and Legend Creations logo just on the bottom there. And it's sort of in the style of the Age of Ultron Hot Toys. And it's got a waist grabber rather than a crotch grabber, and I think that's because of the tail at the back, which is quite forward thinking for them. I wouldn't have thought they'd think that far ahead. I would have thought they would just gone with a normal crotch grabber and just left it at that. They have put a little bit of thought into this, which is quite scary if I'm honest. Okay, moving on to the figure himself. There's quite a bit to unpack here, considering it's just a real basic KO, but they've done a lot of work on this. I'm really shockingly impressed. This is from the company that brought us the big fat-necked Iron Spider. Do you remember that thing? I think Keyboard Warriors, Andy and Joe did it. They did a video on it, and you can see it's got this insanely fat neck that really doesn't suit the figure. If they'd have only just put a bit more thought into it, they could have gotten themselves a reasonably good KO that they could have sold to most of us collectors as maybe like we could do battle damage on them, or we can use them for extreme posing photos. But instead, they gave it that fucking awful neck, sorry. And it just made the whole thing look ridiculous. But they seem to have upped their game for this one a little bit. It's a bit like the Ghost Rider. I quite like that one as well. I'm quite impressed with the sheer audacity and cheek of Legend Creations for doing this. I mean, they've recast the head, that's for sure. But it's definitely not Hot Toys quality. You can definitely see that the paint is not there. You can see that it's a bit sloppy around the top there. They've tried to blend in their hair to their head just around this edge here, which I didn't expect them to do. I thought it would just be straight. And in fact, I actually thought this part would be so misshapen and badly painted that you couldn't even tell the difference between the head and the hairline. You can see it's not the worst, is it? Unfortunately, the eyes, there is a little bit of wonkiness in the eye there on this side, and or maybe this side, in fact. Either way, one of them wonky, depending on which one you look at. And he does have a bit of a dirt face. He's like, "Duh, I'm the Hellboy." But yeah, it's not the worst I've ever seen. And they've actually put some paint application on there. They've not just recast it, they've even put black wash in. They've even added that part. I thought that thing would have fallen off and they wouldn't have even added it. And this is this body's nuts. Hang on, let me get this coat off and I'm going to show you, because this is next level. Okay, you see that? Jesus, man. See what they've done is they've actually gone and got a normal 1/6 scale body, quite a muscular one with big shoulders, and they've put this silicone sort of suit over the top, like, which is a recast of the original Hot Toy. You can even see they've actually managed to get a bit of the detail from the arm there. It's not as obvious here. It's supposed to come through and give you the detail from the Hot Toy, but it doesn't really. The mold didn't actually pick up the details enough. But you can see that's pretty nuts, isn't it? Look, that's crazy. There's still a little bit of the original detail in there, but it's not so obvious, and it does make it look really cheap, which it is. But then you can pull the head off, and you can see where the silicone meets the neck. And you can see that this seam is sort of sealed shut, but I've got a funny feeling that could come open over time. And that's some next level fucking rip-off, isn't it? They've even tried to reproduce the body. They could have just recast a solid piece for the upper torso that didn't move, and then maybe put the arms on separately. But they actually went the whole hog and got this silicone suit to go over the body here. And you can even get the butterfly joint in there. You get the arm up a little bit, not a lot though. Look, it sort of rolls in. See what I mean about the body underneath? They have, like this part here, let me pull this up. It's not fully fitted to the arm properly, so it bends that bicep out a little bit. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm thinking about getting a black t-shirt, and if I cover this over with a black t-shirt, it will look a lot better, I think. And you've got this like real deep belly button hole here. They just sort of drill that in, I think, or cut it out. So while we've got the coat off, we can have a look at this belt. You can see they've sort of done a very thin, cheap pleather here, but it's got a lot of the details in there you would expect. It's even got his little comm piece here. It's got the Samaritan's holster. We've got all these sort of religious beads and a crucifix hanging off it. And they've even painted the silver bit of the crucifix here. That's some next level fucking detail. They've even put the studs in. They've even gone around with the belt, and these pouches, I think these should have some padding inside, but they're all empty, which is a shame. But if you can get some detail, like some little foam pouches in there, you can put stuff inside to thicken them out to look like they've got stuff in them. Come down, we can see the tail is like a solid rubber, but it does have the metal wire in it, so you can pose it. But this is attached to the rubber body here, and I think that's going to come undone over time. But that was the same with the Hot Toy one. Even my one, I sort of, when I bought it, I opened it up, lifted the tail about a little bit. I could see it was coming away from the body. That was one of the reasons I kind of got rid of it as well. I was like, nah, this isn't going to last over time. It's got these really cool pleather trousers. And I'm starting to think that if you have the original Hot Toys Hellboy and your pleather trousers are starting to crack, just grab this, man. It's got a few accessories on there. You could use these trousers on it. You could probably use some of the extra bits to replace some of the beading, because I know some of these beads have come off from the original. He's also got this wrist beads here. And a lot of people have lost that little crucifix off the bottom. Now this is just like an old like cheapy metal chain, like gold style. But it doesn't have to be. You can put some black wash in there. You could even paint it silver if you wanted, and give him that sort of rosary thing, and those hang off his wrists there. But yeah, that could work as an extra accessory. And I think that's where the strength of this lies. You can use this to replace parts of your original if they're damaged. And that will save you a crap load than going on eBay hunting down the originals. And there's some recast boots there with the big thick soles. I've even gone to the bottom and put some weathering on the base there. I do like it when they put the actual detail in the bottom of the soles. And they come up. Look at that. They've even done dry brushing on the metal there to show them. And this is the gauntlet for the stone hand. And we can see that the detail has dropped off quite a bit around the edges here. But they've put a black wash in to make it all pop. And that's pretty much a recast of the Hot Toys version, I think. It's not that bad. Okay, articulation wise, you can see his arm can go up about that high, but then the silicone pulls it back down again. And there is a bend in the arm that I showed you. And it's slightly ratcheted so it can go up about that much, and there is a bit of a butterfly joint there, so you can bring it forward a little bit, but if you try and twist that up, it just brings it back down again. right down. So yeah, there is a lot of restriction in that body. But then I remember the Hot Toys one being a bit restricted in its articulation as well. Its butterfly joint rolls forward a lot more than this one actually. This is weird. I don't know why this one's so cocky and can roll pretty well and this one just can't. But yeah, the bicep bends. If we try to bring that up, it sort of fits a little better. It sort of poses a little bit more, which I'm glad of, because this is his normal hand that he'd hold the gun in. So if you wanted to hold him holding up the gun like that, you could. There you go. And he does have a bit of torso articulation, bending there. There we go. Then we get the arms going out. They go that much forward. Double bend in the knee so it can come up. Not much ankle pivot, I'm afraid, but they can twist left and right. And his torso can twist a little bit. So there can be a bit of a pose there. Okay, and I've managed to put the coat back on. And I have to say, I quite like the coat, but it is definitely quite large. But there is quite a bit of detail in there, especially for a knockoff. And we can see that the stitching all the way down the sides is pretty good. They've even stitched in the pockets, which is nuts. They've even stitched in these small detail buttons. There's another pocket. Fits everything in there. You can even put the little baby bottle stuff in there. And he's got these straps around the side, and these are a bit clumsy and clunky. These might need a bit of futzing. But they tried to make them look like weathered pleather, and it kind of works, and they're very soft and malleable, so it's not too bad. And the buckles reasonably detailed. We come around the back here. Again, looks okay. The tail fits all the way around the back. Stitched all the way up, very straight along there. And then we come around, more straight stitching. And he comes with this little US badge there. They didn't even have to put that in, if I'm honest, but they did. And he's got this collar, and the collar looks like the aged pleather up here as well. And that's actually very similar to the original Hot Toy version. It's a little bit fluffed. And I thought that was just like pleather damage from the original, but I saw loads of other Hot Toys Hellboys, and they all kind of look the same. It's got these little buckles around the top here. We can see there's actually a few frayed threads just here. Easily take them off though. There's a bit of mis-stitching around the edges. So that would be something to look out for if someone tried to fob you off with a KO coat. Look out for the frayed edges and the sloppy stitching just around here. But it does feel a little bit big on this figure specifically. I can't stand him up now, hang on. Okay, I'm finally able to give my final thoughts after a good play around with this guy and moving him about. Is this going to replace the Hot Toys version? Absolutely not. If you do have a Hellboy and his pleather trousers are cracking and they're absolutely getting destroyed, plus also maybe the coat's getting damaged, maybe there's been some water damage somewhere along the way, maybe the rubber on some parts of the tail or something are cracking. Maybe a boot is damaged somehow. I don't know, fuck knows. But this could be salvageable parts, and you could save your Hot Toys figure by using a couple of bits of this. And with all these nice little bits of accessories and whatnot, it really does help with other figures. You know, you can use all the accessories for other things. You could even use this sword now with the Toys Hellboy. If you're going to use, say, the Numo sculpt, which is more based around the comic book style, you could use that sword with that Numo head sculpt. Here it is here, I'll pull it down now, to actually pose with the Toys. Don't try and put it on this body. This body is too bright red, and you can see that they've actually tried to combat the dodgy bright redness of the body by making the face really bright red as well, and it doesn't fully match the color of the hands here. For everybody else, you know what, I think the stand is really good. You could use that maybe for your Toys version, but you could also, if you're into it, you could put some weathering on this thing. Maybe if you're good enough, you can do a repaint to the head, or get someone you know to do a repaint. And if you put a black t-shirt on over this body, I think you're not going to do too bad. In fact, what I might do, because this is quite a shiny silicone as well, I will actually try and get the matte spray, the matte acrylic clear spray, and just lightly dust that over it. Not too much, because you don't want a really thick film of that over the top. But if you put enough of that on, just in very light mists, and it will build up over 2 or 3 goes, you could actually knock some of that shininess down, and you could have yourself a very nice looking torso. But it's not perfect, and it's for 60 quid. It's way more than I was expecting. You can salvage this for parts. You can have it in the background of your normal display, just showing up, like hiding in the background, just to thicken out your collection if you really want. You can use the coat for something else. Lots of custom stuff. You can do different things with these guns. That massive Samaritan gun would be really cool on another figure. It's all good for that. But like I said, be very wary. The KOs are out there. Honestly, guys, this is far more competent than I would have given them credit for. It's still not great. I don't think it is high-end collectible worthy in your collection. But you know what? If you liked Ron Perlman's Hellboy, but you're not willing to shell £300-400, maybe $500 or $400, wherever you're from, if you don't want to shell out that much for the original rare collectible, with a bit of modification, you might have a reasonably okay figure on your hands. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and if you could do me a favour now, if you can get the fuck out of my cave, I'm going to try and do some modifications on this to try and get it up to par. Thanks a lot guys, bye bye.